Welcome to another video from DIY Daily. Just got a short video today showing you how to replace a rear brake caliper on this 2006 Audi A4, that's the B7 model. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, just click on the red subscribe button below to make sure you don't miss out on any future content. Got loads of other videos on these B7s and a lot of Volkswagen Group stuff you might want to check out as well. Just before we get into the video, I'll just show you a new brake caliper that we're fitting. If you want to check out links in the description below, I'll put links to a new caliper, the part numbers and all the tools that we're using as well. Obviously using 2-poster ramp today, not too bad a job to do without. If I was doing it without, all I'd do is just jack it up on the sill quite high and just put an axle stand under it. But just for now, get it up in the air, get the wheel off and then just show you what the fault is with it, and we'll start running you through how to replace it. So you might notice a quick change of scenery. The car's a bit dirtier and we're actually on a different ramp now. It's a few weeks later. I'd been supplied the wrong caliper, so I just had to stop the video and come back to it, but I did manage to free it up for a few weeks. But I'll just show you what the fault was, what we've done to sort of cure it temporary. We've got the right caliper now, so we can carry on and replace it and get the job sorted properly. Basically this section here is the handbrake lever on it. You can just see there's a stop there, and this is basically stuck down on the on position. I managed to last time, and you can just work them and free them up. Just keep soaking it in the back there with some penetrating oil and just get some pair of grips just on there. I'll just show you. You can just sort of grab it like that and just work it while lubing the back of it up. You can just see that should, with the spring there, that should just return into a fully backed off position. And once I've got it working it loads, I managed to get it to return. So it's been alright for about 3 weeks, but then it started. I noticed the handbrake had got, the lever's gone a bit slack again, and it's just been stuck in the down position. You can just see if I pull it down, it just stays there. But all we're going to do now is just run you through replacing the caliper. Quite a straightforward job. Just pop the bonnet open as well. Obviously we're going to be needing to top the brake fluid up and just bleed it up at the end. First thing I'm going to do, just got a little clamp. Just this style clamp here. There's a few different sort of clamps you can get. I'll put some links to them in the description below. Basically the Exeos to the caliper. I'm just going to put that in the middle there, just give that a nip just to stop the fluid running through when we crack it off. So I'll just put that on there, and then I'll just crack the banjo fitting off. So just want a nut on there, I think it's a 12 or a 13mm nut, and you can get a spanner on there, or you can sort of come through from the top and just get a socket on it. So we'll just crack that off now, and then we'll just use some pliers, just pull this little section of just like a locking tab there, just pull that back, and that'll allow us to be able to get the handbrake cable out of it as well. So we'll just do that now. At this stage now, with the ball out as well, you can just check to see, make sure your handbrake cable's okay. I can just see that that's moving freely in and out of there. So, but now that that's off, there's just another little tab on here, just sort of pushes in. You need to get that out. Again, you can just use a pair of pliers or sort of flat bladed screwdriver. You should just get them out of these. So that's just like a little locking tab there. When you remove your banjo bolt, just be sure to make sure that your two, obviously your seal on the top, you're not really going to lose that because your banjo bolt's going through it, but your bottom one, just make sure that stays on there, that's all. So you don't always have to replace these seals. You normally get away with just reusing them. Obviously check the condition of them. We're just going to give that a clean up and just set it aside for now. There was a 13mm headed bolt on the banjo. The next thing we're going to do is just remove the 2 bolts for the actual caliper itself, just the lower one there and the upper one up there. So we'll just get them 2 out now and we'll get the caliper off. Now they just come undone quite nicely, but sometimes you might have to sort of use a pair of narrow nose mole grips or a thin spanner if you can, just to get on the nut section there to undo them. So we've now got the old caliper off. Well, the caliper's off. It's always worth just on this side, just taking the pads out, having a quick look at them. They're really easy to replace on these, but also shouldn't need to. See, there's quite a bit of meat on them, but I'm just going to check, just make sure they don't look like they've been too hot or anything like that, because at one point when the handbrake was playing up, this rear disc has been quite warm and you could see it had been quite red, so just take them out quick and just have a quick look. See there, it doesn't look too bad, but sometimes you'll see they've been really hot, you'll have like some heat cracks in them, and just check the bottom and where it sort of is glued onto the metal backing, and just make sure it's not sort of coming unbonded. So, but while they're off, I'll just take the pads out, give them a quick clean up with a wire brush on this side, just put them back with a bit of fresh ceramic paste on there. I'll just do that quick. At the same time, just check that your sliders are nice and free so as well. So if they're a little bit tight, you'll be taking your sliders out and just putting a bit of grease in there. But I do know I've had these ones apart just recently. So. So all we're going to do now is just refit the new caliper on. Really straightforward. Just run the two side bolts up there. They don't need to be mega tight. They do want a reasonable nip. I'm just going to put the banjo bolt in there. Again, not silly tight, but it does want a reasonable nip on there. I'm just going to loop the handbrake cable back through. Obviously just locate it around the locking tab there. Then we'll just run you through bleeding it up as well. Just forgot to say earlier on, just where the banjo goes, obviously there's like a locator there, which obviously lines up with a little cutout on the centre of the banjo bolt there. You can't really get it too wrong, but when fitting the caliper, just not aware of it, you just want to make sure that your spring on your pads is sat in the middle, so that the top section's behind there and the bottom's behind there. It's just if you get that sort of tucked right in, you can end up having the spring sort of coming through the middle of the caliper, that's all. Right, so the caliper's all on now. Just to get the clip on there, they are quite tight. You normally find just sort of pushing up on the bottom there, just where you get it started, there's a little groove that it goes in, and you can just sort of tap it through. Just while we're here with the cable as well, I always just like to just put just a bit of penetrating oil, just soak it down the cable, to give it a chance to run down there, just to get a bit of lube in on the cable as well. But basically ready to bleed the system up now. Always before doing this, just check your brake fluid reservoirs, nice and up to the max there. I'm just going to crack this off. I'm going to be bleeding it up on my own tonight, so we can normally get away with bleeding it like this. I mean, I've got a vacuum bleeder that I'll be able to use as well. Put the links to a few different bleeders that you can use, but the vacuum bleeder's pretty good, just uses an airline to do it. But most of the time, just if there's a couple of you, it's just really easy to do it. I'll just crack this off, just let some of the air come out, and then I'll just run you through how I would do that normally. So when doing brakes, by my own, I always like to do this when I'm doing them just all the time anyway. But if you just crack this nipple off now and just keep an eye on it, you'll see quite a lot of air bubbling out for a while. Basically just let it run through until it's neat fluid, just running straight through. Then we're going to crack it off, see what the pedal feels like. Sometimes you can get all the air out like this, but basically if we're going to bleed it up with another person here, all we'll need to do is simply just have it cracked off, just have it nipped up, sorry. I'll just run that up there. You would just basically have it nipped up, get the person in the car to just keep pumping the pedal, and then get them to hold the pedal down. While they're holding the pedal down, it will crack the nipple off. You'll see obviously a lot of air and fluid come out. While they've still got the pedal down, just nip the nipple back up, then get them to pump the pedal a few times again. You always want to do it nice and slow. You don't need to pump the pedal really quicker like that. Just press and hold it down again with the pressure on. Simply crack it off, let it come out, nip it up while they've still got it down, then get them to release the pedal, pump it up, and just keep doing that until they get a nice pedal. You've got no air coming out of there. And basically with the ignition off and the car not running, you should be able to hold the pedal, just give it a few pumps and it should be rock solid and quite high up. You just keep it depressed, the pedal shouldn't seep down at all. Obviously if the car's running with the servo on, the pedal will seep, so, but the way to check it and just make sure there's no air in it is just do it with it off, then release it and just let it off for sort of 20 seconds, and when you press the pedal it should be roughly in about the same spot. If it's seeped down quite a bit, it's just a sign that there's some air in there. So, but we'll just leave this to go now and just see if we can get all of it out without anyway. So you can now see it's got sort of like a constant flow with no air in it. I don't think we'll get away with it on this style because the pipe comes in quite high up, so there's a good chance there's likely to be some air stuck up the top there. But so just because I'm on my own, I'm just going to try it tonight. But basically just nip it up. I'm just going to check the fluid level, just top it back up to the max, then we'll just check the pedal. Obviously the first few presses, we haven't pumped the piston out at all yet, so there will be a few presses where it just pumps the piston out, that's all. Whenever you're bleeding brakes, once you've done, always just give it a good wash off so you can just test it and just make sure that you've got no fluid leaks as well. We'll just drop it down, check the level and check the pedal. Just so you've got a max line on the side of your reservoir there. You always want to be careful when bleeding brakes to not let it go too low. If you let it go too low and get air into the system, it can be quite a bit of a nightmare to bleed them all up. You'll end up having to go around the whole system, bleeding it at every point. So, just check the pedal now. Obviously then first few presses, it did have quite a bit of treble to it while it was pushing the piston out, but actually I think that's got it pretty good. I'll notice now if I just leave that a little bit, it's only going down to about where it was, so it's not really pumping up anymore. If you pump it up to where it sort of stops, then release it, and then it's going back down further again, that's a sign that there's air in there. So again, when you go down the road, you'll know down the road because your first press will always have quite a bit of treble to it. You'll usually be able to pump it out. If you keep pumping it, you'll get it so that the pedal's a bit higher up, but if there's a bit of treble to it, that's always a sign that there's some air in the system. So I'm just going to put it back up in the air now, just wash everything off. Obviously, because I've got access to sort of the garage all the time, it's not really too much of a problem. If I do feel like there's a little bit of air left in there, all I'll do is just when I've got someone else with me tomorrow, it's just run through bleeding it normally, just crack it off and just push that last little bit through, but I'm pretty sure that's bang on tonight. But we'll just wash that off, put everything back together. Yeah, as you can see, the caliper replacement is really straightforward, not too bad a job at all. I'll just crack that off quickly now, again just make sure that nothing comes out of there after just pumping it, but so I'm pretty confident that I've got all the air out of that one, just been able to self bleed it tonight. So but yeah, I thought I'd put the video together in case anyone wants to have a go at theirs. If you like it, give it a quick thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. All I'm going to do to finish it off, just put the little bung back on there. Just put the wheel on, torque that up. I'll put any torque settings that I can find, I'll put them in the description below as well. So yeah, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.